Hello everyone, welcome into another Joint Movement DPT's video. We are at our last weekend here in Montana. So on the spur of the moment, it's Labor Day weekend, we decided, since we have it 3 days, we're gonna make the little jaunt, and by little I mean 6-hour jaunt, over to Yellowstone National Park. We've never been, and so we're really excited to see it. We left on Friday night, stopped into Missoula, had to pick up a few things, and then drove just a few hours. We still have about 2 hours to the park. It's Saturday, and we will go check it out.
We're expecting, with the holiday, for the park to be very busy and the campgrounds to be busy, so we're just going it travel therapy style and just we're winging it. So we found this awesome camp spot right outside of Butte. It's free. There's tons of people here using it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Alrighty, we're glad that we can bring you guys along with us. Here we go. So we're here at West Yellowstone, and we're going to stop into the Visitor Information Center, and there is a ton of people. The line is way backed up. We're here about noon, so of course we're kind of on a slow start this morning, but of course the most busiest national park here, and it's living up to that for sure. But we're going to go check out the Visitor Center, get a map, and get some cool information, but mask on. Oh, and Megan's going to use the bathroom again. It looks like a busy day already.
It's a nightmare. And there's an elk jam 7 miles in.
Oh, man.
So they were trying to flush the gate and just let everybody go on in. But you go 7 miles and then everybody has stopped to look at elk. So that's back.
So there's a big old bull elk that everyone's slowing
They're
down.
jamming out. It's a big elk party.
Big elk party, you know. Boots, boots, boots. So everyone's taking pictures and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get a glimpse of it, but hopefully the line gets moving a little bit faster.
Do you want to make sandwiches and eat them while we sit in line?
Yes, food. Let's eat some lunch while we're sitting in line. We stocked up on some deli meat, so we're gonna make some sandwiches. That seems to be the easiest we've found when we go to these national parks and we don't want to eat the expensive food at like the visitor center. And I don't even know if I don't even know if any of those restaurants in the park are actually open due to COVID. So we'll grab a little snack. So we're at our first stop here in Yellowstone, and you can hear the water rushing. So we're at Gibbon's waterfall, and plenty of people out here ready to look at the beautiful scenery. think of the first stop?
Pretty cool. I'm interested to see what I think about this compared to Glacier.
Where are we at?
Burl Springs?
You're horrible.
Are we?
Yep. We have found our first spring, Burl Spring. And I can already smell the sulfuric
Yeah, I can smell
egg
it.
smell. Oh my. Look at that.
That
That
is so
is so cool. That is so weird. Look at this, guys.
Ryan and I, before we came here, we were talking about how crazy it is, all the different types of landscape there are, and that like the US has a lot of those, and like what is causing this? It's crazy. So this is a thin crust area, so that means the crust of the earth is so thin that the heat from the core, or isn't it like the magma core or something that I learned in 7th grade science, is coming up through this water, and that's what we're seeing.
Seeing it bubble over.
Yeah.
So this spring oscillates between 188 to 192 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot.
It's one of the hottest springs in Yellowstone.
Wow. Burl Springs, gotta check it out. We came through the west entrance of Yellowstone, and so now we're kind of making our way north. So Gibbon Falls and this Burl Springs, gotta check it out. And right now the wind will blow some of the steam our way, and the steam's really warm, like fogging up
It's
glasses,
smelly.
and smells like rotten eggs. So cool.
It's so cool.
My mind is blown. And what's also great is at least the 2 stops we've been has been very wheelchair accessible.
Yes.
And so that's
amazing.
so awesome that they've kind of thought ahead with that. And this is a great national park to come to, because you get to see a lot of those cool things like the Burl Springs and the Gibbon Falls. And,
Yeah.
so really,
So far, everything.
great job, Yellowstone.
We've only seen 2 things, but everything's been a great
Yeah.
accessible.
Barely in the park and already amazed.
Yeah.
So we are now at the Artisan Paint Pots, another big stop in Yellowstone Park, where there's supposed to be some geothermal pots and supposed to be pretty colors. And it's about a half-a-mile hike in.
I think the paint pots are like big mud baths that are boiling.
Big boiling mud baths. Sounds like a day at the spa.
Yeah.
This is dangerous ground, people. Keep your kids on leashes.
And your dogs on
more than
leashes?
20 people have been scalded to death at Yellowstone. That's kind of crazy. So this geyser here has been erupting since 1882. Constantly. 1882. That's pretty amazing. And it can erupt up to about 6 feet in the air.
It kind of really makes me want to go to a spa and take a mud bath. But not here. I think that would be a dumb decision.
There's heat underneath all this rock sediment, and actually it gets so hot it dissolves the rocks into mud and clay, and that's what we're seeing explode through up. Now it's not the actual heat that's coming up, it's the gas, and nitric oxide I think is what the sign said, but the gas is actually creates a bubble and then wants to come to the surface, and that's what's throwing the mud up.
I also
Different.
learned that it's in like Greenland or Iceland or something. They've got a ton of geothermal energy like this, but like in their whole country. And so they like cook in their sand because it's so warm. They can put like a pot of bread underneath the sand and cook it for a day. I kind of want to try cooking an egg or something.
Really neat. The Artisan Paint Pots. Check it out. Well, Labor Day weekend, what do you expect? You gotta park in overflow parking or in sketchy places that don't actually look like parking spots.
Yep.
And so you always get a nice little warm-up hike before the hike. And right now we are at
Norris Geyser. something something.
Yeah, yeah. And so, don't really know what that's going to be like. Probably a geyser. Megan and I were just wondering why someone had a full car cover over their car, and that's why. Falling debris. So I guess skin's okay, because it only said glass. So this is Norris Geyser Basin, and there's lots of little geysers and hot springs down in here, and you can smell the nice sulfuric smell. Really beautiful, this kind of lookout right here at the top.
Yeah, it's weird. The wind will come through and the wind is cooling, but then you'll get like a draft of the hot steam.
Yeah.
And so it's very like confusing for my body temperature.
And it's warm today, so make sure when you're out here, especially, I mean, it's September right now, to bring water, especially during the COVID times, because there's just not many places to fill up your water bottle. So thankfully we brought water in the car, but we've already like drained our water
But look
bottles.
at this, it's right here, steaming. Just everywhere. Why are we allowed to walk here? That's my question.
Well, you're not allowed to walk anywhere.
Can only walk on the boardwalk. If you get off it,
You might die.
you might die.
And look how blue the pools are, like the water pools. Like just super blue, just like an abnormal blue color.
All right, so there's two loops that you can take, two different basin loops. One of them is Jewel Basin, and then there's like the back basin.
It's interesting all the different colors that we're seeing depending on what minerals are there, and like this one, arsenic seems to be the main mineral, and so that's giving it the red color.
And then a park ranger said that if they're cloudy, they're most likely alkaline, and if they're clear, they're most likely acidic, is what she said. She said not always, but that's a general rule of thumb.
There you go, know your pHs, people. Know your pH.
If you stand in the steam, it's like boiled egg, just like on your face.
If you want to see everything in Yellowstone Park, man, you gotta book it.
The back basin is a much larger loop. You have an option to take a shortcut, but if you want to see the whole thing, it's a larger loop.
A lot more geysers there, and a lot more basins.
A lot more geysers, but they're more spread out, so you've got more walking in between seeing those things. And the boardwalk was actually pretty thin, and if you've got different groups of people, you know, like maybe whole families or people vacationing together, it can get a little claustrophobic with trying to keep your distance with people and trying to be mindful of people wanting to see everything. And it was just a little bit like, I feel like I'm always in the way, or I'm always being pushed out of this scene so that other people can see it. And
that might just be because we're here on a busy weekend too.
Yeah.
So we are here at our next stop, Mammoth Hot Springs. Here, this is a good one. The sign looked great. So now we'll go check it out. It's kind of interesting because it looks like a snow on the mountainside over here, but I guess that's part of the hot springs and the buildup, the sediment buildup. Smooth
You
as a
know
gimbal.
what's disappointing about this park? Is you can't get in this water. That's all I want to do.
Megan likes her swim time.
How do you feel about getting to have seen Yellowstone? You were so worried that we wouldn't get to see it before we left.
I know, we were relatively close to Yellowstone, and I've never been to Yellowstone, neither has Megan. And so I really wanted to see it while we were here, and I didn't quite know what to expect. And so all these geothermal pools and hot springs and stuff like that has just been blowing my mind. It's just totally different than I would have ever guessed. Tomorrow, I think what the plan is we're gonna try to go south out of Yellowstone, camp kind of in between Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, and then hit the Grand Tetons National Park tomorrow. But I won't get ahead of myself. Yellowstone has been really awesome, and you really could spend like a whole week here. So if you can get a reservation for the campgrounds here to like go see parts of it and then be able to retreat back to your campground and not have to drive as far, that's probably best, because it's probably about 15-20 minutes from each little thing you're going to drive to. It's a huge park, and it's a lot of driving. The grand loop for Yellowstone is 142 miles, so that kind of gives you an idea of how big it is. And we didn't even do half of that, but we still got to see a lot of cool things.
We thought this was a wildlife traffic jam when we first started sitting in the traffic, but we think it's just the Y. At Madison. Gotta turn at Madison Campground to get to West Yellowstone. So 2 lanes are coming together, and we think that is why there's traffic.
I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with us in this episode of Yellowstone, and stay tuned until next week when you see the Grand Tetons.
It's a Sunday and I feel alright.